Our next petition is Petition 1197 by Bill Alexander, calling on the Scottish Parliament to urge the Government to reform the legal system to adopt the Scandinavian system of allowing unrestricted access to legal representation before the court, for example, by allowing non-lawyers to appear in court on behalf of other parties. Okay? So we have the petition in the papers in front of us. Any particular points by members of the committee? Is that Bill?
Thanks, Convener. My apologies for my lateness, but both Nigel Don and myself were delayed elsewhere. Can I say that I think the specific points that we need to, I would suggest, seek responses to are, one, whether a precedent to widen rights of audience has been set by granting the Association of Commercial Attorneys a right to conduct litigation and right of audience. And the second one, it seems to me, is whether it has any plans to expand further, that is, the Scottish Government, those who can represent people in court, and whether such a change is desirable and what the impact on the legal system would be in light of such a change. So perhaps we could write to the Scottish Government, faculty, Law Society, Scottish Law Commission and the Ombudsman. I think that would be a way of proceeding. Okay,
I'm happy with that. Any other particular points on this, Nigel?
Thank you, Convener. And again, my apologies. It seems to me that there are two kind of issues in here which we perhaps need just to tease out and separate. The first is the issue of whether other professionals should have a right of audience, and I think that's the one that already exists in principle, and groups can apply for the right of audience in the appropriate circumstances. I think, to be fair, the petitioner is not really heading in that direction. He's asking that the individual should be able to represent themselves in the higher courts. And I think we just need to take cognizance of the fact that that is the question. It is a bigger question. It's not immediately obvious that it would be wise, actually, for an individual to do that, bearing in mind the reality that lawyer is there as an officer of the court rather than actually just to represent their litigant and their client. And just to make that point, it might be worth putting on record a case which I read very recently, which involved a constituent, where he was unable to get representation and represented himself. But if you read the judgment, it's entirely clear that the counsel for the other party did most of the legal work, was commended by the judge for doing so, and that she actually in the process made my constituent's case rather better than the defendant's case, because that's where the law lay. So she actually finished up helping the court to come to the other client's view, which is of course exactly what a lawyer should be doing, because they want the right answer rather than to represent their constituent. Now, I think that point has to be put in here as well, that you're not just going to court on your own account. If you're going with a lawyer, the lawyer's job is to produce the right answer and not merely to present your case. The other bit I would just note is I think the petitioner has a fair understanding of what he's about, because if I recall in here somewhere, he makes the point that he thinks that we as citizens should be able to deal with contract and delict, which probably is right, and probably in that order. I think if he's looking for rights of audience in family or land law issues, that would be unwise. So maybe this is a lot more complicated than he's making out, and it's about rights of audience in particular cases rather than the generality, and we just need to ask people those kind of questions.
Any other contributions on this particular petition? Okay, well, those two contributions from members, can we pull that together and move it forward? Okay, thanks for